four main national banks of Egypt under the directives of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, and they aim at securing insurance for seasonal workers, and we will be talking about that. And I'm happy to have with me Dr. Mostafa Rostom, and he is the director of the international relations at the Workers' Trade Federation. Welcome with us, doctor.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Mostafa, thank you very much for being with us today on Nile Cruise. If we can speak about the seasonal and the temporary workers here in Egypt, they have never been the focus of the insurance companies or the insurance policies here in the country. How do you see such an initiative made by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the government of Prime Minister Sharif Ismail?
Thank you very much for raising this important issue. We like to draw your kind attention that terminology of this group is informal sector. This has been rarely be covered around all the African and the Middle East countries. Egypt has tried beforehand, few years ago, to make a kind of insurance, but it doesn't succeed. This step is very important because it is following the ILO, International Labour Office conventions, and this means that Egypt, despite that it is going through a very important war to liberate to liberate Sinai from the terrorists, it doesn't forget, President Sisi doesn't forget the workers. So we have a very big number of workers, around millions, and we don't have any, we are not sure that we get the correct figure. The President has been keen and decisive. He has taken rapid strides. And if you follow him last week, he has been giving his orders to cover the workers within 15 days. Actually, this is a very important step among a very big number of workers because they come a lot of these seasonal and informal workers in the building trade, plumbers, a lot of categories are working very hard to be able to provide their family with a good way of life and all these things. But after they die, the family lose everything. So when we talk about the social security system that will be covered by this, certificate, it is very important.
Doctor, now the policies itself for the issuing, a person just needs to have an ID card, not a lot of administrative work, and be between the age of 18 and 59. Now, to what extent can it help these workers, and what about its conditions? Like how many years does it last for, and the percentage itself of the rate of it?
Actually, the idea of the issuing through the ID card is very important step because they don't make any kind of obstacles as they can oblige the workers to go his homeland, another governorate and all these places. But they make it through different also Ministry of Manpower offices. So when they start to work upon this idea, they will find themselves easily covered upon presenting necessary documents through the ID card to the 4 banks. And also now we have the Ministry of Manpower has tried to make initiatives through their offices to try to go to the workers at their workplace to easily help them. Upon what we have understood through the joint communique signed between the Prime Minister and the 4 banks and all the company of insurance, we find that they give the workers a kind of very important coverage, around 50,000 Egyptian pounds in case of death, as it is mentioned, and also to give them the choice to give to their relatives upon their death a kind of a pension. It is very important. And also now I think we have following that the President Sisi is focusing upon a very important step to cover them with medical also insurance system through the Medical Insurance Authority.
So how do you see the psychological benefits for the workers and of course the social importance for the workers or the seasonal and the temporary workers here in Egypt for the Aman certificates?
Actually, if we don't exaggerate, this is a very important fight, not less than the President Sisi fight for virus C, and what we have been following, how we have been able to follow and to make a very big fight against this disease. This coverage of this important category in our society is very important because I think it is the first important what we call encouragement for young to go through private sector what we call work, and it is a very important step in particular that we can pass to you. Also a very important note that we got, that the ILO has approved another 6 months extension for better work program. This means that Egypt is going through a very important what we call it respect of its obligation to the international community.
How large is the informal workers sector in Egypt?
How
large is it?
It is very large. Nobody can even have the right. One of the more important problem, they don't have the right figure. Mm-hmm. So it is very big.
And what about the challenges facing it? Like, what's the challenges you feel that informal workers are facing?
A lot of things, like the most important thing, it is the social protection. They don't have any social protection. They don't have any social endurance for their children upon their death or their injury or they got a problem. And I think the first step that has been taken in this condition will help them to organize this important category in such a body. As it has been mentioned by the deputy of the Manpower Committee at the Egyptian Parliament. So they are thinking seriously after the president's decision to form a kind of body to help to organize and to see the problems that are facing these groups, even when they travel abroad also.
So what about the role of the businessmen, the Egyptian businessmen and the private sector in creating this social justice here in Egypt, and of course creating these certificates of aman for the seasonal and the temporary workers that they work with?
I think the President Sisi decision also to make two steps. The first step is to start by the large groups working as a very big with the big contractors, because in the past the big contractors take the money for the insurance, but it goes for air because they are not regularized. But now I think they are doing as a social partner in accordance to the ILO rules. They have to play their own role by even providing a kind of training for these groups to be able to have a very important and talent workers in our society again.
Workers play an important role, and especially in the informal sector, in the society and in supplying services and even construction, of course, construction work. But unfortunately, some of the jobs done in the informal workers sector is socially looked down upon, although it's very vital and it's respected elsewhere in the world. How can we raise awareness among the public to change the image of the workers in Egypt?
Actually, nowadays we have a very important, what we call it, trend that we are trying to improve the image or the society, what we call society looks to a student even at the technical school. Yes. And I think the President Sisi decision to be able to open and to start a kind of technical high schools era in Egypt, it is very important. So this will oblige the society to change. And now with our suffering, if you have a problem in your house and you are looking for a talented person you won't find, I think we will stop talking about this is bad, this is good, because
stereotyping.
Exactly, each one is helping the society in accordance to his education, to his needs.
The procedures of buying a van certificate for the seasonal and the temporary workers are very simple and easy. Do you think that this would be beneficial for the banks to be drawing new clients?
I don't think so, because even it's a very, despite the fact it is a very very easy, but we have to pay a look to this kind of workers. If I am a seasonal workers and I am working, I will not go to buy the certificate because I have a 100 perhaps work to do or something like this. But this is a very, we can say, it's a very big encouragement and enhancement of the society, and to be able to draw the attention of the importance of the Egyptian national banks to serve the economy. The role for the economy, it is the same of the army to defend the country.
Mr. Mostafa, as the director of the international relations at the Federation, what is the most challenging issues that you faced and you managed to conquer or to resolve that you'd like to share with us? Or some of the challenging issues that you had in your department?
Actually, my department is like the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Mm-hmm.
We will have to defend the Egyptian workers abroad. Either they face a problem or within the monitoring of the, what we call it, of the respect of the Egyptian government to the ILO conventions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this year has been a very important challenge to us.
Mm-hmm.
Since May 2017. We can say that Egypt is taking rapid strides upon the respect of the ILO conventions.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Egyptian parliament has been able to pave the way for a new trade union law. Now we are waiting for the new labor code, and also we are waiting for a new social security code. What is very important nowadays is to try to be to help the workers abroad by our work with Nile bathing countries, as example, the African continent through Organization of African Trade Union Unity. And after the elections, we have a very important plan to start to work with the International Trade Union Organization, who have been against our organization since 2011.
Do you think that here in Egypt we lack the culture of insurance in comparison to other countries and regions?
Actually, in Egypt, everything when it starts a new beginning, it is it will say no, we don't have, it's against God, something like this. But this
persisting change.
Yes. But what we can say for this, there is a very big people are asking everywhere, what is this? How it can help me? So it's a very important step. And we can say that it comes in a very historic situation, because nobody can imagine that a country is fighting, is open another channel to protect its workers. So it's a very challenge and a very important step taken by President Sisi, as always.
Well, I'd like to thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Mostafa Rostom, the director of the International Relations at the Workers and Trade Federation. Thank you very much for this interview.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, now we will be going to a quick break, but we'll